type, okay? If you have somebody with bad credit that you sent out to try and get a cosigner, that probably doesn't require the 5-minute call, which is now the 1-minute call, because you don't have 5 minutes anymore. This used to be called the 5-minute call. It's really like the 30-second call now, right? Because everything happens so much faster today. Social media changed everything. When they leave us, they're going straight somewhere else to try and get the deal, and it's going to be the easiest car deal they ever made. Okay, so you got, like, as soon as you see them hitting the pavement, that's when it's time to make this call. Okay, but this is to the customer that has the ability to buy the car, and for some reason just would not pull the trigger. Gave you we just need to think about it. We need to sleep on it. We need to pray about it. Whatever the reason out, it just doesn't make sense, especially the ones that you did everything they asked to do. We got to the down payment you wanted. We got to the monthly payment you wanted. Yeah, but we just got to sleep on it. Something's wrong. Would we agree on that? Something's wrong. And 99% of the time, they've said something out of turn that they can't take back. They don't know how to save face. That's what happens 99% of the time. And what happened, if I don't turn them around, they're going to go to another dealership and they're going to tell them the complete truth because they don't want to waste their time again. And they're going to say, if you can get me into that LE Camry at $425 a month with no money down, I'm going to buy it right now. And they're going, you don't want to drive it? No, I already drove it at Toyota Selma. Okay, you get me in that, I'm done. Right? Easiest car deal they ever made. You did all the work. When you follow up, they still will not tell you the truth. They're going to say, well, Nick, we just stopped by Clovis Toyota on the way home, and they had the car we wanted, and they just gave us a better deal, man. You were great. And they still won't tell you the truth. The truth being maybe they didn't have the $2,000 down that they told you they had, and they don't know how to back out of it. They don't know how to save face, so they just keep telling you we need to sleep on it, we need to think on it, right? So that's what this call is designed to do. So when I make this 1-minute call, and I'm calling Nick, I'm going to my goal is to try to guilt him into giving me this information, what went wrong, okay? So when I make that call, I'm going to say, Nick, this is Curtis. I know you just left here. I got a problem. Something's really bothering me. He's going to say, what is that? Let's play along, okay? He's going to say, what's going on, right? I'm going to say, I believe you came here today with the intent of buying a car. You let me run your credit. You drove all the way from Clovis. I think you came here to buy a car today, and I think I messed this experience up for you somewhere, and I just want to know what I did wrong, okay? I've made this call 100 times. I can tell you exactly what he's going to say. He's going to say, Curtis, you didn't do anything wrong. You were great. We just need to think about it. He's going to double down on what he said, right? Then I'm going to follow up, and I'm going to say, Nick, I have another appointment coming at 4 o'clock today, and the last thing I want to do is do the same thing I did to you and turn somebody around and send them back home. I got to know what I did wrong. I cannot afford to repeat this mistake again. Can you let me know what I did wrong, please? And then maybe the next sentence will start with, well, Curtis, the truth is that the way it starts, Gurdeep? I know Gurdeep does this call a lot. And right when that sentence starts, you got them. And they're going to say, the truth is, I don't have the down payment right now. I need 30 days to come up with a down payment, right? And then you're going to turn them around. Gurdeep, is that the only thing that's holding you back? That's the only thing. Do me a favor. Turn around right now, hop off the freeway, come straight back. By the time you get here, I'll get this thing worked out. Fair enough? I'll meet you out front. How far are you?
Next exit over.
Come right back. I'll meet you out front. We'll get this thing worked out, okay? If you don't turn them around, guys, they're going straight somewhere else, and they're going to tell them the truth. They're going to say, $425, no money down, I'll buy it right now. And then that salesperson is going to think they're so great. They're going to go, those guys are fucking idiots at Toyota Selma. That was the easiest car deal I ever did. It took me 10 minutes. Those guys are suck over there. We get those, and we give those sometimes. We all get those, right? Somebody left Auto Mall. It was the easiest car deal you ever had. We don't know exactly what happened over there. We don't know if they lied to him the whole time and whatever the case is. But I know it happens, and I don't want it happening to us. Does this make sense? So this is the could buy a car. We don't know why they're not buying the car. They keep telling me they want to think on it. Nobody drives. Think about it. We're in a destination store, 30 minutes from anywhere. Nobody drives all the way here just to let us run their credit to think about it, right? It doesn't make sense. Sometimes it don't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Something's not right, right? I know right there something went wrong, and they don't have the courage to tell me face to face, but they'll tell me through the phone. This is a lot easier. I don't have to look you in the eye and tell you I lied about that. I could do it through the phone. Make sense? But you got to pour it on. You know what the most challenging part about this is? Is you guys try to do it where no one can hear you. You're too afraid of Miguel might hear me and this is embarrassing for me. So, hey, what happened? Is there anything I can do to, or we go right back to where we left off at. I asked him 50 times when he was here at $2,000 a month, $500, $2,000 down, $500 a month, would you buy the car? And then when I call him, hey, so if I got you that $2,000 down, $500 a month, I mean, can we make this thing? You asked me that 50 times while I was here. Why are you asking me that again? I left saying no to that. And you gonna call me asking the same thing? When you call them, you're not talking about the deal at all. You're not talking about the numbers, okay? You're telling them, I generally feel bad. I think something went wrong. I think I ruined your experience. I think you came here to buy a car and I did something that turned you around and sent you back home without a car. Can you tell me what I did wrong? I cannot do this to my next customer. I got another customer coming at 4 o'clock and I'm afraid if you don't tell me exactly what I did wrong, I'm gonna do the same thing to them and I cannot afford to do that. Does that make sense? I'm pouring on the guilt like I generally feel like shit for what I did. And then maybe they'll say, the truth is, we really can't do 500. 400 was our budget. Doesn't matter what it is, turn them around and get them right back, right? How many customers do you guys get on an average month that won't commit at the numbers that they told you they want to do? How many times does that happen? 3, 4, 5 times a month? You get right where they want to be and they still have to think about it? Something's wrong. They said something in the process that in the moment under ether, they committed to something. And when reality started setting in and they realized I don't got that $2,000 right now. I can't do 500 a month. 400 is what we talked about. It might be when you walked away and the other nudges says, we said 400. We can't afford 500 a month. And all of a sudden you come back, we got to think something went wrong. That's when you got to make this call, okay? You guys got to practice this call if you want it to work. You got to become an actor. You cannot worry about what your partner hears next door or the customer that's 2 booths over. You can't worry about any of that. How many times can you make this call?
Once. One time.
You got once. You got one time to make this call correctly. What is this worth? What is this worth on a monthly basis? 1? Can we say 1? Let's say 1. That first follow-up call, that 1-minute call. Let's say that's worth 1 car deal a month. What's your average car deal after all your bonuses and everything else? It's around $500, $500 to $700 right there on 1 car deal. Am I right? 1 a month. That's how much? $3,000 a year? Is that what they come out to? $4,000 a year? By making it 1 phone call that takes me 30 seconds, I can make another $4,000 a year. This is where we get so spoiled. Because in most jobs, you have to work 3 years to make $4,000 more a year than you did the first year. Here you could do it with a 30-second phone call and make $4,000 more than what you would have made in a year's time. Right or not? Now your second call. Now let's say they double down and they stuck to it. They will not change their mind. They say, nope, we just got to think on it. We don't do anything the first day. Curtis, you were fantastic, right? Now I got to move to my second call. When am I going to make my second call?
Next day.
It's right there on paper for you guys, okay? Very next day. First thing, guys, because what happens is you only got so much time before this ether wears off. Okay, I got to make this call the very next day. When I make this call the very next day, am I going to go back into the numbers again? But we do. That's the first thing we talk about. Hey, so have you had time to think about it? I mean, we get you to that $500 a month, $2,000 down. You ready to move forward? You guys got it. One thing you got to understand is people program answers to certain questions. So if you ask me a question and I give you an answer, it doesn't matter how many times you ask me that same question, you're going to get the same answer. Only I'm going to get a little more annoyed each time you ask me because now I don't feel like you're listening to me at all because you just keep asking me the same question. I've told you no to that, right? We program answers. So if you're just calling them the next day and you're asking the same question, you're going to get the same answer. Except they might end it with, Gertie, we'll call you if something changes. You know, I'll reach out to you. I'll let you know. Basically in a nice way saying, stop, don't call me no more, right? So when you call them the next day, you're not talking about the car deal at all. I got it right here for you in the structure. You need to create urgency. I've always had success using a dealer distress and putting them in the winning circle, putting them in a winning spot to take advantage of. So I might call them, let's say there's a trade involved. Then I'm gonna call them right away and I'm gonna say, hey, this is Curtis. I know we just spoke last night. The reason I'm calling you, and I'm gonna call with urgency in my voice, okay? My used car manager just walked into my office. He asked me, where's that 18 Honda Civic at? Did we take it in on trade? I told him we couldn't make a deal. He told me he's been looking for older Civics for a week and there's none at the auction, and I was probably off by a couple grand. He wants to look at your car today. He already told me he normally leaves at 5, but he'll stay till 7 if he needs to because he wants to look at this car. He said there's none out there. How soon can you get in here? You hear the urgency in my voice? That's going to turn him around, guys. That's going to get him excited. Why? New information, and they're winning. They're winning. When do people move forward on something? When they feel like they're winning the situation. That's our job to create that. Perception's reality, right? Our job is to create a winning scenario for the customer to move forward with. So if I call them with that urgency and let them know we have a distress, you have the fix, how soon can you get down here? Then I can turn people around, okay? But when I make that call the next day, don't talk about the numbers. You're gonna get the same fucking answer. You keep asking the same question, you're gonna get the same answer, okay? Think about something brand new. Brand new information gets you a brand new answer. We're gonna create urgency. We're gonna create a distress that they have the answer for and they're winning the transaction, right? Why do we not make this call? A, again, we're afraid to become actors. You got to be an actor when you're making this call. We're afraid that if I do get them in, what are we going to do more for them? Are we going to piss them off? Doesn't matter. What do you got right now? You don't got jack shit. They ain't coming back. They were here with you 2 hours yesterday and you couldn't close them. They're going to actually come back on their own, right? You got an opportunity right now. Sometimes a couple $100 difference is all it takes to make them feel like they won. And then they move forward again. Right? Sometimes it's nothing. They just come in with the mentality that they're going to drive home in a new car today. So they're ready to move forward. Right? Get them in the door. Stop worrying about, we're too afraid of consequences. What if this? What if that? And I'll hear that from some of you guys, or I'll hear that from BDC. What if they say this, boss? What if? Who cares? Get them in. Right? Third attempt. That don't work. That don't work. Now I go to my third attempt. Okay, I'll usually wait a day after that one. I won't hit the very following day because now I need this to set in a little bit. My third attempt, I'm going to try to take away a little bit. I'm going to change the scenario completely and I'm going to try and take away a little bit. Okay, so I might send them a picture of a different but like model. If they're looking at a Camry, I'm going to send them an Altima. And I'm going to fire off an Altima to them and I'm going to say, hey, Diego, this just came in on trade. Nice Altima. I think it fits exactly what you're looking for. What do you think of this one? He's either going to ask a question about that, which a question is interest. You want questions. Statements kill your deal. Questions are interest. That's what I want. We can't be afraid of questions, okay? He might say, well, I don't know. What's the miles on it? What's the year on it? What's the price on it? Or he might say, no, I only want the Camry. And if he says, I only want the Camry, then I'm going to try to take away a little bit. Okay, well, that was one of the reasons I sent you this Altima. There's an appointment today on that Camry coming in at 7 tonight. One of the internet guys just scheduled an appointment on it. So if you are serious about that Camry, is there any way you can get down here before 7? We are a first come, first served store. If you get down here first and you like the car, you'll get the opportunity to buy it. We can't hold them for anyone. Are you able to come down here today before 7 so we can try and work this deal on the Camry for you? Right? I got no choice at this point. I got to put some pressure on. I can't just let them do it at their leisure when they want to because people procrastinate. People like to procrastinate. They'll wait, right? So if my third attempt, I'm going to try and create a new situation. I'm going to fire a different vehicle and see if that grabs their attention. If it does, great. I'll start showing them that. There's a 90% chance they're going to double down. They're going to say, no, I want the one I want. And that's when I could fall back into creating the takeaway. And I'll say, hey, part of the reason I'm calling There's an internet appointment scheduled on that Camry tonight at 7 o'clock. So I wanted to reach out to you. If you're serious about that Camry, we need to get down here before then and see if we can button up this deal for you. Nobody's going to work harder for you than I am. I just need you to get down here and I'll put the pressure on my boss. How soon can you get down here? Right? Fear of loss sometimes will get your customer to move forward sooner. Does that make sense? When they think they have all the time in the world, then they take all the time in the world. But if I put a hard time stamp on it, like, hey, this thing is probably going to be gone at 7 o'clock tonight. They're driving from Salinas, and they got an appointment at 7 tonight. I don't think they're driving away from fucking Salinas to look at it and go home and think about it, right? Then I can put that pressure on. You got no choice. Because after your third attempt, the likelihood of getting them in are next to none. I mean, you got really this one and this one are your very best shot. Your third attempt is really a long shot. Hopefully by pulling that takeaway, I'll get them to want to move forward based on fear of loss. But if that don't work, if they say, no, Curtis, we're just going to think about it, something went wrong. Something went wrong. Either they don't like you, they don't like the dealership, they don't like the car. Something went wrong. Their whole story was made up. Something's wrong, right? So third attempt is third day. And this is all new scenario, okay?